Hello and welcome back to Calradia at War, and I just want to touch upon something really fast before we get into a battle, because there was a vassal nearby and I wanted to attack them because they obviously wanted to raid my village or something along those lines. Anyway, someone commented, why am I not using spear bracing infantry, or quote-unquote, where was the spear bracing infantry that we were promised? That was basically your comment. And I was thinking to myself, okay, wait a minute. Have I not mentioned multiple times in the series so far what's going on with the spear bracing? Because as I explained earlier, quite recently, and maybe in every episode so far actually, there is no formation. I've always thought that there was a formation for spear bracing and you just needed the correct units to be able to make that work. But according to some other people, that is not the case. They automatically spear brace when they are in line formation. As far as I'm aware, that's how it works. So if you need more reiteration, apart from me saying that very clearly, that's where your spear bracing infantry are. Now that that's cleared up, let's go and attack this. I'm not entirely sure what people are doing if they're not even listening to what I'm actually saying, but okay. Well, whatever. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to be winning this, and I haven't had the opportunity to go back to Valandian territory yet, but don't worry, you don't have to really watch me go and travel all the way back there, because the travel time is a little bit tedious. I've also done something a little bit different here as well. I have installed a new mod, and this is one of those mods that doesn't really interfere with the gameplay too much. The interference is very minimal, and it is going to allow me to gain additional attributes, or should we say attribute points, every single level rather than every 3 levels. Because as it stands right now, I personally believe that the way that native does it, the way that the vanilla game does it, is a little too slow. And I think that there are a lot of people that agree with that, because every single time I don't install something like that, everyone is just like, why are you not, why don't you have the attribute thing installed? It's so much more fun to see all of the skills and everything fleshed out. And I agree, that's the point, I agree, but as I said before, I kind of feel like, sometimes experiencing the way that native is a kind of decent, shall we say, yardstick. It's kind of like a good way of sort of seeing how the game is and what its current state is as well, because obviously if we are consistently playing with mods, then we're never going to see what the base game is like without them. And personally, again, I've always said this, but generally I think that the base game suffers from a case of stagnation and a case of static leveling. It's a little bit too slow, in my opinion, for people to level up. And generally, your character is going to take an extremely long time to gain these skills. And I think there was actually a person that even mentioned this in a comment. I think you said something like, how do I get my skills up to maximum level? Because I have to play for thousands of days, I have to play for thousands of days to be able to get them to max level. And that is indeed true. That is very true. There are almost no ways to get your skills leveled up in a reasonable amount of time without spending, as I just said, thousands of days in game. And I personally think that is this is my own personal opinion, of course. This doesn't have to be your opinion either. I'm not trying to offend anyone or upset anyone, because let's face it, there's no doubt going to be someone. But anyway, the point is, generally, I think it's too slow, and I don't think it should take thousands of days to get one skill that you've completely maxed out to max skill level. And I'm mostly talking about trade here. I'm talking about one-handed, I'm talking about, whatever you're using. And the way that I get around that, especially considering I am playing this for a series, and I probably would do that in my spare time as well, because I don't know about you, but I don't really want to play for thousands of days to see the cool, really enjoyable to use perks available to me. I don't want to see that at the very end of my playthrough, and then I get to play with this amazing perk at the very end. I literally don't want to have that be a thing. You know, I want to literally be, you know, running around with this thing and having a whale of a time with it in my efforts to conquer the entirety of Calradia. I think that is so much more enjoyable, and generally I would highly recommend those of you that are having some issues with leveling up or whatever the case may be, you really do want to consider downloading a mod like Chaos's Tweaks, or messing around with your game files a little bit to try and increase the attribute learning rate, which is exactly what I've actually done for this series so far, because obviously Chaos's Tweaks doesn't work for me at the moment, so I had to do that with something different. And so that's the reason why, by the way, you're seeing this green bar all the way up here. The learning limit at the moment is 330. As you can see, though, it's not really making that much difference, because whenever I use a one-handed, we don't really level up that fast. It just gives me the opportunity to get these skills a little bit earlier, and it's not imbalancing the gameplay in a massive amount. And I mean, obviously, there's going to be some people that disagree with that, but respectfully, I disagree with literally taking thousands of days to get to this point. You know, there shouldn't be a case of that actually happening. Like, for example, look at everything has a price right here. I don't have a huge amount in social, as you can see right here. I've only got 5 points in it. And still, I do not have enough learning limit to get to everything has a price. And it's going to take me a long time to get there unless I invest in more caravans and things like that. And that actually brings me to the next point that I wanted to make. Someone asked me why I am giving my companion a one-handed sword. I thought I actually mentioned that anyway, and I thought I told you why I did that. Generally, what I wanted to do was have her literally just kill or even attack a couple of people with her one-handed sword, and that is going to level her so fast that we'll then have a much greater idea of focus points. We'll just have many more focus points for us to be able to customize her character in a much deeper way in regards to her character build, because if we want her to spec more into archery, for example, she's at her learning rate. She's at her learning limit, should we say, at the moment in archery, and she's not going to be able to level up archery any further, or she is going to be able to, but it's going to be a very slow process. And I wanted to speed that up a little bit. So how else do we get really good amounts of skill points? Well, you level up something that is really low level. And, well, what's low level for her? Well, one-handed. That's the only thing that I could really think of. It's also going to increase her survivability, of course, because even though she is indeed good with two-handed weapons, that is admitted, you know, very much. She is good with two-handed weapons. It is still very close to her learning limit, and she's not going to be able to earn a huge amount of skill points using that weapon type. So that's the reason, because as I mentioned in previous series, and indeed in this one as well, if you diversify and you create your character and make them, at least initially, into a bit more of a, you know, jack of all trades kind of character, you are going to level up so much faster than you would otherwise. And as a result, you're going to have more focus points, you're going to have more attribute points, and you're going to level up so quickly because you are consistently spending these focus points in these skills that you necessarily might not use or might not spec into otherwise. And it's going to make everything so much quicker for you. So much quicker, so much more streamlined. And that's a bit of a, I'm not going to say a leveling... It's not really a leveling tip, so to speak, but if you want to create a very strong character rather fast-ish, I mean, if you're obviously not using any mods that change how your character levels up, or the speed of how your character levels up with learning rates and learning limits and the bonuses that you get from your proficiencies and so on and so forth, if you're not changing any of that, then obviously it's going to take an age anyway. But these kinds of things can assist you. I am actually going to die here, maybe. 16 HP. Very close. Okay. Yes. Anyway, the point is, I've done this in the past where I've had a character that was really, I think it was in the, I can't remember which one it was. It wasn't the Berserker series. It was the one before that. I can't remember which one it was now. Yeah, I made so many. I think it was Calradia Expanded, actually, hilariously enough. I think it was Calradia Expanded. And I was playing a character where I basically spec'd about 3 focus points in every single skill, or most of the skills that I was actively using. So in other words, one-handed and athletics and riding, and maybe to a lesser extent medicine and trade and all those things. And I was using all of these actively. And I leveled up so quickly. Every single episode I was leveling up, I don't know, 1 or maybe 2, maybe even 3 times initially. Obviously you're going to level up much faster when you are a lower level because you require less skill points to gain those levels. But then with those additional focus points, with those additional attribute points, I was able to max out stats much faster, and generally it was just a much more, I would say, streamlined experience, much more enjoyable as well, because you got to bear that in mind. Enjoyable and shall we say more satisfying experiences are definitely something that you want to try and focus on, because obviously it's a game. You want to try and enjoy yourself, you know? You want to try and enjoy yourself as much as possible. Anyway, we're just going to be taking these prisoners, and I'm going to be taking all of these, and we're just going to be selling all of that. And yeah, so hopefully that more adequately explains my position on these things, and hopefully you're going to see that, because there's obviously I'm saying this kind of stuff, and for those of you that have actually watched every single episode so far, I apologize if I'm going over the same points, but some people don't get it, unfortunately, so I'm having to do that a few times. But this is going to be the last time that I explain that kind of thing, because if you take a look here, if I had actually spec'd into, I don't know, let's say that I had spec'd into some scouting. So, for example, if I hadn't spec'd all of these focus points into one-handed and polearm, and even in charm and trade, obviously charm and trade is actually kind of necessary because I have 5 social points only. But if I'd only put in, 3 into polearm and 3 into one-handed, then I could have taken those 4 extra focus points, and I could have put 2 each in scouting and tactics. And that would have enabled me to continue leveling these up, and as a result, I would continue gaining skill points. And as you see here, you need additional skill points to be able to gain more levels. And, that's kind of the logic behind it, but obviously, as I say before, it very much depends on what kind of character you want to make. Because let's face it, if you want to make a very basic character that is focusing on just a handful of skills, then doing this jack of all trades thing is not really going to benefit you that much. So just bear that in mind. Anyway, we are going to be recruiting all of these guys. Wow, it's actually super easy to get all these guys because we just have so much relation with all of these villages. We've really done a good job. Ooh, now this is actually fantastic. Hello there, sir. How much do you want? 36. Okay, so yes, indeed, they are not coded to require 1 more prisoner than what you have in your prisoner's hold. Okay, I'll bring you 36. Okay, yes, I for sure have enough. I certainly do. Hello there. Okay. I have 66, in fact. Actually... What? I can only... Oh, yeah. You can only... Oh, okay, I'm actually kind of annoyed now. Yes. Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, I obviously forgot about that. Yeah, you can't provide other factions' units to this task. You can only provide bandit units that have no, no allegiance to anyone. So that's obviously a little bit of a problem, because now I'm going to have to run after these looters and things like that. So that's obviously going to be problematic. Ah, this might be enough. This might actually be enough. It was literally about 30 seconds. There we are. There's 45 of them. And we've also leveled up a whole bunch of people in the process too, which is always nice. And, oh, here we go. We can actually level up a couple. Fierce warriors, please. Slayers, please. Oh, yes. There we are. I actually have a couple of barbarian units, amusingly enough. It would be fantastic if, I know I've said this before, but I think it would be amazing if there would be a mod that would actually enable you to recruit these barbarians just purely because you have constructed a base or something and they enable you to recruit the barbarians manually. I think that would be fantastic because then you can actually create a pure barbarian character, and I think that would be a lot of fun. Anyway, let's see if I can actually do this, because it might not be possible due to... No, it is indeed possible. Fantastic. Okay, great. Oh. You can only transfer 48 prisoners. Why not? Why only 48? It's because they only need that? I guess they only need that, so I guess I'm just going to do 45 then. Yes, here's all I've got. Let's finish up. There we go. 15,000. Yes, indeed. 15,000 from that. Ah, insanity, insanity. Okay, so we now have 230,000 in gold, which is always very nice, and we're just going to sell all of this loot. There's another 21,000 there, another 24,000, very good. And now I think we can basically go back and we can try and take SEONON, and I'm actually going to try and do that. I mean, I know, a lot of my forces are relatively low level at the moment, but I really feel like our time is running out. The amount of war exhaustion is steadily increasing, and we can't really do much about that. So we're going to have to make a move. Alright, let's have a look. Trickle down is pretty good. Man of means, not so good. So I'm actually going to take trickle down. This basically gains 1 relation with merchant notables if you buy more than 10,000 golds worth of trade goods in a town. This is obviously basically pointless for me because I'm not doing the standard trading that a merchant character might do. But I'm looking at the secondary, where your governed town gains 1 prosperity per day as long as it's building something. So I very much appreciate that, and I will take it. All right. So let's move on, and we have 43 Vlandian sharpshooters. That's pretty nice. Okay, that is pretty cool. All right, so let's go. And I will attempt to take SEONON. I mean, I could... You know what? I'm actually going to take the advice of someone in the comments. And you said that Arwa is... Well, this woman right here. She is an extremely good prospect for a wife. And, oh yeah, you weren't kidding. You weren't kidding. Look at her stats. She is an absolute beast. 220 in polearms. I mean, really, how can you say no to that? So I am going to send a messenger to her, and hopefully we'll have we'll have good luck. I mean, I have a decent amount of charm skill, so I should be able to pass the checks. And if I'm unable to pass the checks, then I will be forever sad. But I think we'll be okay. Anyway, anyone else? Oh yeah, these guys are leveling up just from my standard leveling up procedures, I suppose, the daily experience that I gain randomly. And we're just gonna continue telling people just to run in here. You know what? I need to level up my steward skill. Yeah. Remember that from the previous series? If you saw the Berserker series, then obviously you remember that, but basically what you can do is you can donate a bunch of armor and weapons if you have the prospective perk, and it gives you experience instead of giving you money, which is really, really great. So I'm thinking that maybe we should try to put a focus point in that. Alright. Hello there, Arwa. I would like... Yes, I wish to profess myself your most ardent admirer. I am a creepy old guy. Yes. I mean, she is 22 and we are 50. I mean, I don't have a problem with... you know, people in real life, if they love each other or whatever, if they want to do that, and the age gap is relatively large, then that's up to them. Obviously, that's their own choice. But it you know, it doesn't feel particularly good for me to do that right now. So let me just see. Yes, perhaps you and I. Yes. Well, I suppose I can consider your offer. She's not particularly. She does not particularly like that. No. She does not like that one bit. Okay, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Is Byron actually a good-looking guy? I mean, he's kind of good-looking, but his boots are terrible, as you can see right there. One thing you got to remember, a lady appreciates good boots, right? Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. All right. Well, let me see if I can just fight a couple more forest bandits before we head into SEONON. How many units are even in there? I might not even be able to take it because there might be an army really, really close by, and they might decide to interfere. Actually, I'm a vassal, right? I could call for an army. Yeah, let's do that, shall we? That seems like a good idea. These guys are going to take ages to get here, though. Your settlement? Cantrek Castle? Wait a minute. Do I own Cantrek? Oh yeah, they gave me that, didn't they? Oh, well, never mind. That's not really going to help me now. Yes, I am perfectly fine with allowing that to be, you know, shall we say, scattered to the wind. Ah, hello there. There is a vassal that I would like to fight. Hello there, sir. And we will just auto-resolve against him, because generally auto-resolving at this point I think is really good, at least for leveling up some of these units. We are also going to be able to gain really, really quick relation increases, and look at our experience as well. We upgraded 23 units, really nice to see that. And I will be swapping these prisoners out because I generally want to try and take the most expensive prisoners possible. So whenever I do go to a town that allows me to sell, then I will be able to do it through that. And hopefully once we have a couple of extra people in my army, their engineering skill is also going to make a little bit of a difference to our speed. And we're also going to get leadership from this as well, by the way. Our leadership is going to level up very, very, well, slowly, but it is going to level up at least a little bit. And we are going to be moving very slowly now as well, because we are, of course, having additional people inside our formation here. Okay, so let's see what I can do. The siege camp is now being built. And actually, our combat strength is not even looking that bad. I'm kind of surprised. Okay, Lucant, do you have any siege? Do you have any engineering? I mean, do you have any engineering skill to contribute? Apparently not. Okay, good to know, good to know. Anyway, do we have anything going on here? No. Okay, Arwa, we are going to send another messenger to you so that when we are done with this siege, we can hopefully speak to her straight away. This guy is... Does he actually want to fight? This would be a huge error on his part. Yep, he's not bothering with that. He is not bothering with that. Okay, do you want to go in? No, see, look at that. He's not bothering. I like it. Very good indeed. Okay, I'm so happy that I thought of actually calling for an army, to be honest, because I would not have ever been able to take this by myself. The combat strength is just way too different. And we are now going to head in and see what we can do. Okay, so do bear in mind I have my War Razor, but I am going to aim to level up my one-handed skill a little bit faster here, because obviously leveling up some other skill is going to increase my rate of level up, and hopefully I'll be able to get an attribute point as well. Okay, here we go. There's no one defending at the top here, which I'm kind of skeptical about right now. Should I zoom things? Zoom. A little bit of zoom. There's no one here. Look. Oh, they're slow. They are very slow. Okay, I'm liking that. I'm hitting the stairs. You did nothing to me, stairs, but I am apparently murdering you. Yes, indeed. This sword is terrible, by the way. Yeah, this sword is terrible. Or, at the very least, my proficiency is terrible. Either way, we are swinging very, very slowly. Oh, hello there. Oh yes, by the way, someone else mentioned about the whole, you know, I'm doing 130 damage to people and they're not dying. Yes, that is indeed a side effect of the level, HP per level mod. Because if you don't have that installed, then most enemies are going to die with damage of over 100, because they are mostly going to have a base HP of that. So, yeah, I thought I would just clear that up as well. If you're still watching, that is, you know. Generally, I like to try and explain all that stuff at the very start, because then everyone's going to catch it, or most people will catch it. Anyway, let's just see if I can maybe stay alive here. Ugh. Yes, this is so incredibly frustrating. Oh. I'm dead. Yeah, I can't do anything about that, unfortunately. They completely clobbered me right there. Okay, are my forces actually doing something good here, or are they just... Yeah, no, they are absolutely getting murdered. Can I zoom things? I don't think we're gonna do this, all things considered. Okay, so, oh yeah, that's also something that I wanted to mention. We currently cannot take control of anyone else. So someone actually said that I should take control of my companion to help her to level up skills once I've died. Yeah, I obviously can't do that because I don't have that mod installed anymore. That's the main reason why I can't do that. I don't have that mod installed because I don't think it's actually been updated for my current version, but I could be wrong about that, so don't quote me on it. Maybe it's been updated since then, or whatever the case may be, but look at that. It seems like we were able to take SEONON even without my assistance, which is fantastic, but I don't know whether you noticed, but in this particular battle, she was able to level up her one-handed skill by 37 points. Pretty nice, right? Yeah, pretty nice. Okay, so we're just going to do an auto-resolve here, because obviously I can't go in there, but we were going to do an auto-resolve anyway, and now we can take all of these prisoners. We will be taking all of them because we're going to be staying in the town anyway, so of course it's going to, you know, we're not going to need the movement speed or anything like that, so we're going to be absolutely fine. And we're going to show mercy once again, and we are going to claim the fief, because we are, of course, going to claim it. Thank you very much. Okay, so there you go. We actually did it. And we are pretty fine. And I think I'm actually just going to wait here for some time. He's going to try and besiege us, but I don't think he's going to be able to do anything. Personally, I don't think he's going to be able to do anything here, because my forces are going to restore themselves. And generally, we have some pretty good units. He does not, on the other hand, have very good units. Oh, yeah. I should have sold all my prisoners before we waited for some time. Yeah, I should have done that. Oh, well, that was a bit of an error on my part, but we already have a decent amount of cash, so it's not really that necessary, at least in my opinion. Okay, so apart from that, we do have another perk to spend, or our first perk, should I say, in engineering. So what are we going to do? Non-ranged siege engine build speed increased by 10, and increase equipped shield hit points by 30%. That's actually kind of good, so I will be taking that. And I have nothing else. Oh yes, also, yeah, we should have a look at her. So as you can see, there you go. She's actually spec'd a point into one-handed. She's speccing her own points right there, her own skills and everything, and she's actually taking things that I would take myself, which is pretty cool. I would also take Swift Strike. It's a very nice perk, so I'm happy with that. All right, and personally, I don't think... Yeah, he's not going to do it. Yeah, as I thought. He is certainly not going to do that. So we're just going to sell now, even though that was way too late in my opinion. But yes, whatever the case, we are now going to add a couple of, thousands of gold into the reserves of the treasury right here. And we're going to gain a little bit of construction bonus, and I'm basically, what I'm doing right now is I am just trying to make it so that we have something being built all the time, because we've taken perks that, shall we say, directly benefit us as long as our fiefs are building something. So they're going to gain more security, they're going to gain more prosperity, more militia, and so on, as long as they are building something. And that makes a big difference. We are going to also be increasing our settlement loyalty by having festivals and games, and I'm also going to be waiting here for some time because I have the parade skill, and as I've said multiple times, parade, in my opinion, is one of the most powerful perks that you can get that is not a max level perk. It really is. It is absolutely fantastic. And Cantrek Castle still has not been taken, which is hilarious. Not entirely sure what they're doing over there, but maybe they're being intercepted or something along those lines. That would be rather amusing. Anyway, let's set up our improved garrison now, because we obviously have the ability to do so. We are now no longer being attacked, and I'm going to be putting around 200 units in here. I'm not going to be putting anything more, and we'll go for tier 4 units, because we're putting tier 3 in castles, and we're putting tier 4 in towns, and we're putting 150 in castles and 200 in towns. And I think that seems pretty good. This is going to be the start of the uprising as well, by the way, because for those of you that are still watching, we will be creating our very own faction to force Dirthart into a secession. I believe a secession would be probably the best opportunity for us, because what that's going to do is that could potentially force him to, or shall we say, it's going to force him to step down, but then we are going to take over as the leader of the Vlandians. Because obviously abdication, I would assume, is going to probably cause some kind of vote to happen. I've not done this before, so obviously this is all just guesswork. But generally, if we force him to abdicate, then it could be that any random person is going to become, you know, the leader of the faction, and we want to be leading the Vlandians. So I will try to see whether we can become the king. And that's going to be super fun, because I believe, I think Tailworlds actually just released an update to this version of the game that allows companions, if you are the leader of your own faction, to become lords and to create their own clans. And I think that's the case. Yeah, I think it was 1.6.3 that they have that available, and it is 1.6.4 that I'm playing on, so it should be there. Anyway, oh, we're now declaring war against those guys. Okay, well, I'm actually going to disband the army. I don't need these guys any further, so they can just go and do whatever they want to do now. And we are declaring war on the Western Empire. I will say yes to this, because I want to get relation with this guy. I very badly want to get relation with this guy, because he currently has 0, which is pretty awful. So let's do that, and we're going to increase our relation with him by a pretty good amount. And obviously any charm skill that I gain now is basically pointless, although it is going to increase my chances of success with, with a number of people, potentially. Oh, this is kind of bad. Ragnvad has actually declared war against us at the same time. Okay, well, that's not particularly good, is it? No. Okay, so now we are at war against the Botanians and the Sturgians, as well as the Western Empire. And I am in the middle of it all, as you can see right here. I'm basically in the middle of the triangle of death, which is pretty much what's going to happen. Oh no. Okay, that's not particularly good. Okay, well, let's just take a look at our perks that we've gained from leadership here, because it was pretty nice to level up our leadership a little bit. And what do we have here? Town garrison is 20% more effective for security and increase your party size limit by 5, or 1 town loyalty per day. I will go for the 1 town loyalty per day, I think. That is pretty nice, in my opinion. Alright, yeah, we have a pretty decent garrison so far, 135 in there. That's quite good, actually. That is pretty good. And I will be ending this episode off here. And so, I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.